Good morning, guys. I'm going to be catching us up on some of the chapters that we read on Friday of our book for Wit and Wisdom inside of our classroom, which is our Giant Squid book. We read a little bit about the man or the scientist that we are learning about. His name is Clyde Roper. He's our scientist. So I'm going to go ahead and read chapters 3, 4, and 5 from Friday, and then today we'll continue on to chapter 6. Meet the Squid Hunter. Despite the stories of giant squid attacking ships, scientists have learned that these beasts rarely emerge from their home at 1,600 to 3,300 feet below sea surface. Even today, almost no humans have gone where giant squids live, and sightings of these giants at the surface are very rare and mysterious events. This mystery helped inspire one person who made it his life's work to film and study these creatures. It all began with snails. As a child, Clyde Roper spent hours following narrow trails along the seashore in New Hampshire. The trails led him to a tiny snail, a periwinkle, plowing through the wet sand on its one slimy foot. Clyde didn't realize until years later that these tracks in the sand were the first clues in his hunt for the giant squid. Snails and squids are related. They belong to the same group, mollusks, which means soft bodied animals. Some, such as periwinkles, have shells to retreat back into. Others, such as squids, do not have shells. This is a periwinkle and its trail, just like the ones Clyde used to follow as a child. And here's our scientist, Clyde Roper. He loves learning about squids, and he likes to spend all of his time learning and reading about them. Giant squid. But who needs a shell when you have some nifty ways to escape predators and to capture food? A squid can make a quick escape using jet propulsion. It shoots water out of its body through a funnel to rocket backward, like a balloon suddenly releasing its air. A squid is an aggressive hunter, equipped with 8 arms and 2 long feeding tentacles that it keeps tucked between its arms until it is ready to strike. Then the squid shoots out the tentacles to capture its prey and then drag it to the sharp beak inside of its mouth. So here we have our squid, and these are the body parts, the 2 tentacular clubs, the 2 feeding tentacles that could be about 30 to 40 feet long, the 8 arms, the beak, which is surrounded by the arms inside, his 2 large eyes that help him to see under the deep dark ocean, his mantle, where you can find all his organs, the funnel down here, which helps him to jet backwards and forward and side to side, and then his stabilizing fins, which helps him to steer and swim. Some mollusks have shells, others do not. This mollusk, called a nudibranch, have other ways to protect themselves, such as secreting acid to discourage an attacker. In college, Clyde studied the group of mollusks called cephalopods, a word that means head-footed. He learned all he could about the many types of squids and their relatives, octopuses, cuttlefishes, and chambered nautiluses. Each member of this group has a flexible body with big eyes and a mouth surrounded by many arms. Octopuses have 8 arms. Squids and cuttlefishes have 8 arms plus 2 tentacles, but the chambered nautilus holds the record with 80 to 100 arms. Cephalopods are the most complex group of mollusks. The head contains the brain and large eyes, and the body holds the animal's organs. Heart, most have 3 hearts, kidneys, liver, stomach, and gills. The gills take oxygen from the seawater as it passes through them, allowing squids and octopuses to breathe. Like other cephalopods, the giant squid has suction cups to grab onto things. The giant squid suckers are surrounded by small, sharp teeth that dig into the flesh of its prey. Its sharp beak has been proven strong enough to bite through steel metal cable. Why then does the sperm whale always have the advantage in a fighting contest with the giant squid? It's because the sperm whale's mouth is ideal for capturing soft-bodied prey. It has teeth only in the bottom, and those huge cone-shaped teeth fit snugly into sockets in the upper jaw. This way, the whale can hold onto the victims that have no bones or shells. A giant squid doesn't stand a chance. Get a grip. This open mouth of a sperm whale shows how it can clench a soft squid between its jaws. So here we have the whale showing off his, let me go to the other page. There we go. I'm sorry. This is our whale showing off his mouth. And notice how he has teeth only on the bottom. And then he has kind of like holes on the top jaw to where the teeth will go into. So that way he's able to hold on to and clench that slippery, kind of wiggly, soft body prey. And then here we have different family members of the squid family or the cephalopods. You have your cuttlefishes, your octopus or your squid. This is your squid. And then you have your octopus on the bottom. And then you have your chambered nautilus, which has like the 80 to 100 arms. Ocean detective on a chase. There are more than 500 species of squid, a number that keeps growing as new species are found each year. Scientists have named the giant squid Archaiteuthis, which means the chief squid. Clyde Roper decided to dedicate himself to studying the secretive squid that scientists knew so little about. But how would he study a creature that was so difficult to find? This dilemma made it very intriguing to Clyde. He felt like a detective looking for a suspect that had escaped capture for centuries. One day, when Clyde was studying at the University of Miami, he got a call about a dead sperm whale that had washed ashore, kind of like Boris. Did anyone want to examine it? Absolutely. Since sperm whales were no longer hunted, this was a rare chance to try to find a modern day link between sperm whales and giant squid. Clyde and his friends raced to the beach. They jumped into the ditch that had been dug to bury the whale's body. Armed with knives, saws, and hatchets, they cut into one stomach and then another until they were up to their shoulders inside the whale's three stomachs. It was a messy job, but would it give them clues to the giant squid? Hours later, the researchers had retrieved nearly 1,000 squid beaks. They were amazed by the huge number of squids a whole whale could eat, but none of the beaks belonged to a giant squid. However, they did discover many large circular scars around the whale's mouth, proving that the whale had battled and devoured or ate a giant squid sometime during its life. Eager to clean up before getting into the car, Clyde and his friends trotted to the water's edge. They saw dozens of shark fins just beyond the surf that were attracted to the smell of whale blood. Change of plans, the men would have to drive back home in their blood soaked clothes. So here is the whale that washed up on shore. Sometimes this happens because of like the storms, and those animals that live in that deep ocean get caught up into those currents and those storms, and they get pushed to the top layer, which is warmer, and they're not used to that kind of water. So then they die, and then they get washed to the beach. But of course, this is a good opportunity, a special opportunity that Clyde and his other friends use, because at least this way they are able to study the inside of the whale's stomach to learn more about the mysterious giant squid. After years of study, Clyde Roper was now a doctor of science. Dr. Roper was invited to join the staff of the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C. He began investigating many kinds of squids, from species the size of his thumbnail to ones nearly as tall as he was. Soon, specimens of all kinds of squids arrived at the Smithsonian for Clyde to examine, including giant squid. The work only fueled his curiosity to see a live giant squid in the ocean. So then these are some of the squids that he got to learn and study. This is a sperm whale off the coast of Japan who is munching on a giant squid. Researchers have estimated that the population of a giant squid by counting the number of giant squid beaks that are found inside of the sperm whale's stomachs. Some whale biologists think that there could be more than 1 million sperm whales. So how many giant squid do all of those whales eat each year? That's about 60 million giant squid. Of course, not all giant squid are eaten by sperm whales. So there could be many more millions of giant squid hiding in the deep oceans. What autopsies reveal? In all of the recorded history, fewer than 500 specimens of giant squid have ever been found. In more than 40 years of research, Clyde has examined nearly 100. The largest giant squid ever recorded was reported to measure 60 feet long. Clyde suspects that those who claim to have found the world's largest giant squid may have stretched the squid a bit to make it seem longer. The largest specimen that Clyde has studied was nearly 46 feet long. Most of the adult giant squid found have been about 25 to 33 feet long. The tentacles make up 2/3 of their overall length. The giant squid ranks among the ocean's largest animals, its size exceeded only by a few specimens of whales and sharks. Squids, much like trees, have growth rings. Squids' rings are located in the tiny ear bones called statoliths. They are called daily rings because a new ring is laid down each day that the squid is alive. Clyde has counted the giant squid's growth rings to figure out that it lives about a year, possibly 2 years. This tells scientists that giant squids are a very fast-growing animal. Here is our scientist, Clyde Roper. He's doing a autopsy, which is where the scientist examines and studies the dead creature. So he's able to measure it. He's able to learn how it lived, how it died. He's able to study the different organs. Here he's showing you how long this squid could be. He's about 6 feet tall, so that can only tell you that this giant squid is very, very long. And here are the ear bones that are found inside of the giant squid. Just like a tree, if you slice the bones, you can actually find rings. And these rings tell you how old the giant squid is. Each ring is 1 day. And so scientists have been able to count how many rings that they find in the ear bones of giant squids, and they have discovered that giant squids live about 1 to 2 years. The adult giant squid's eyes is actually the most remarkable, amazing feature, and they're about the size of a headlight. So almost like the size of an adult human's head. How do they penetrate the permanent darkness of the deep sea to find their prey? How far can a giant squid see? Clyde wanted to answer all these questions and many more questions. So Clyde would talk with deep sea fishermen who had caught giant squid in their fishing nets. He would examine the bodies of squids that had washed up on shore dead, but dead or dying specimens couldn't answer the one big question that always haunted him. He wanted to know, how does a giant squid behave in its natural habitat? He decided that he just needed to find out. How do deep sea creatures see in the dark? Below a depth of 660 to 3,300 feet, the ocean is permanent darkness. There, the blinking lights on tiny microscopic little animals look like little fairy dust. They illuminate the fangs of strange deep sea fishes. More than 3/4 of the deep sea animals are bioluminescent. That means that they make their own living lights, like fireflies. Clyde wondered if maybe giant squids also glow in the dark. Many ocean animals, such as jellyfishes, glow in the dark. But why? Maybe it is to attract mates or even to attract food. Or maybe it's to scare away predators. Or maybe it's so they can find their way in the blackness of the deep ocean. Alrighty. We'll go ahead and move on to our next chapter later on today in class. So hopefully you are here. And if not here, please come back to YouTube and take a look for chapter 6. Have a good day, guys. See you later.